Welcome back, and returning now to an alarming story about the food we consume. Hot dogs, sausages, bacon, and deli meats, all seriously harmful to our health. That's what experts at the World Health Organization are saying. They're warning consumers about strong links between processed meats and cancer. In fact, those experts are now classifying that food group as a carcinogen. Joining me now to weigh in on this really alarming food news, Dr. Michael Selden, a gastroenterologist with Hartford Hospital. Doctor, great to see you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. So
should we all be swearing off bacon and bologna, or is this warning for people who eat a whole lot of meats?
Well, the warning is important because clearly we know that processed meats can be bad for your health, whether it's heart disease or cancer risk. But the key thing is to understand that in moderation it's okay, but not to overdo it. So
what's your message to folks when we say who do eat meats in moderation?
Well, the message is to perhaps have 1 or 2 meals a week with processed meats, but not a daily use. From these studies, what's seen is that 50 grams of processed meat, which would be the equivalent of 1 hot dog a day, can increase your colon cancer risk by 20%. So it should not be done on a daily basis.
And you know, so that's like that kind of not the average person who has a hot dog every once in a while for the 4th of July or whatever, but we were talking about children, you know, that's kind of a go-to meal for kids.
Correct. Yeah. When children are at school, we want to make sure they're getting healthy meals so they're not eating the same processed meats daily.
All right. Help us understand what red meat and processed meat is.
Mm-hmm. So processed meat is any meat that's salted or preserved in nitrates, whereas red meats are red when they're raw, and they don't have the same preservatives. So there is definitely harm with processed meats and likely to be harm with red meats. But according to the most recent evidence, processed meats seem to be the worst for cancer risk. The
worst culprit. And for me, I remember at some point reading some sort of a study regarding red meat that young girls or young women should actually have more of it.
Yes, it's good to have some, and not to avoid it completely if possible, because there is definitely benefits in terms of protein and iron from meat products.
I mean, it's pretty shocking when you hear a study that equates cigarette smoking with something we all do pretty regularly. What is your takeaway message for folks who really want to be doing the right thing?
Well, I think it's important for all people to understand that there are many risk factors for cancer, and not just to get bogged down by this one new issue. Besides the issue with red meats and processed meats, smoking, obesity, if patients have a family history of colon cancer, these are all important issues, should be discussed with their primary care doctor, and this helps determine when patients should be screened for colon cancer.
A fascinating study, certainly a talker. Doctor, we thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Brent, back to you.
Audrey.